Vic, have you thought about MVP at all?
Even though I think I should lead the race, defense is 50% of the game. That is undervalued. So far in the MVP race, I believe I'm the most impactful player defensively in the league.
Well, I believe Victor Wembanyama might really have a point when you think about it. Because when you do things like this, it can really make people get out of their seats.
Wembyama, look out! My goodness!
And I mean, that's just the start of things. Because if you don't stop him before he gets ahead of steam, he'll make sure you end up on a highlight.
Oh my goodness!
See, the thing is, Wemby can flat out make plays that change the way you enjoy basketball. And it doesn't just show up on the offensive side either. As when Scottie Barnes attacks the rim and Wemby isn't facing him, he would assume he could try and go for an easy bucket. But Wemby is really watching his man to make sure the pass doesn't get through, and then with his length and reaction timing, he can turn around and block Scottie's dunk.
Spinning into the paint goes in, Wemby with the denial.
Everybody, just listen to me. I think when we talk about MVP, I do think we need to think about how the game gets affected by you on both sides of the ball, because how come MVP can mainly be about being the best player on one of the best teams in the league, but is usually skewed heavily by offense? And I mean, hey, if defense wins championships, why doesn't it seem to play a bigger role in the MVP conversation? When you watch Victor Wembanyama, the game almost feels broken at times. For example, he's not only 7'4" launching threes with no hesitation, as if he's to miss it, he's able to make sure everyone on the court looks tiny while grabbing his own rebound and then putting this back up for the and one. Opposing teams on a nightly basis have trouble when they have to face Wemby, and his impact is felt everywhere. Since the All-Star break, Wemby is averaging 3.8 blocks per game, and when you watch him, you see he impacts defenders way more than just a simple block. Times where guys end up blowing past guards such as Dylan Harper on this possession, for Davion Mitchell, this looks like a guaranteed bucket. But when you have someone like Wemby on the floor, this just isn't the case. Other times, it starts off with the mental game, as Amin Thompson slows it down and turns to KD for help because he doesn't want to attack Wemby. If this was a normal big, this would have been less of a thought, but now this is something you have to think about when attacking. So with KD not really breaking free because Castle pretty much stays with them and Wemby slides over to take this away, Amin now has to take this drive when he didn't want to initially, and trust me, you just can't beat Wemby. Doing things like this is what any team in the league would want, and there's nobody that can honestly get away from it. It doesn't matter if it's a big man going at him or if it's a guard trying to attack. Everyone now has to play slightly different offensively to just adjust to what he throws at them. And the crazy thing is that usually guys are just okay on one side of the ball and then perform highly on the other, but Wemby is genuinely solid on both sides of the ball. You tell me, would you agree with that or not? Because just seeing the way he plays defense and then the easy as to score at all levels is amazing for someone his size, and he can do so in many different ways. I mean, look at this. He not only brings the ball up the court making guys bite on pump fakes, but he can also spin off guys to shake them before getting the ball back and attack the closeout to get all the way inside for the finish. Everything with Wemby really starts in this open floor, and it's not because the bulk of his points come from here or anything like that. It's because plays like this can really shift momentum in games.
Gets it back, look out, Wembanyama with a slam, and a quick timeout.
And then later on, the confidence is on a high, so he can be locked in all the way through the contact to finish these and ones.
Wemby running the floor, and one.
Yeah boy, that's why I say this is important, as now when Wemby is in that half court, he's already in a groove. When you look at things in the most simplest form, all you have to do is advance the ball before the defense can get set, and if Wemby is making his way to the paint with no one there, well, you can just kiss 2 points goodbye. This size that Wemby has allows his team to just find him and throw it up for when a possession gets sloppy. And look at this right here. When Wemby gets a smaller player switched onto him, it's way more apparent that you can basically just put it in the air and Victor will get to it. It gets to a point where this is such a cheat code that when guys do body into him slightly and he's outside the restricted area, Wemby will still reach right over the top of them to complete the alley-oop. When you go ahead and scan the league, you don't see this happening much at all, but this is a normal thing for Wembanyama anytime he steps on the floor. And if you don't think this is all that much of a problem, well, wait until he starts putting the ball on the deck and throws down stuff like this. Yeah, I get it. First it was the easy stuff, but now is where you get things more challenging every step of the way. Your first challenge is going to be stopping him from getting inside, and things get so difficult that even when you force him into help, he'll just spin away from it to get closer to the basket and score like it's nothing. Every time you watch the Spurs play, you'll notice that Wemby can get to any spot he wants on the floor once he sets his mind to it, and sometimes he can get a little crafty, such as using a half spin to shake his defender briefly before scoring at the rim, and then other times he'll use that handle to then low carry into the paint, and the placement off the glass is just perfect. See, Wemby doesn't have to rush things in order to get a bucket, as right here he does have the wide open shot from deep. But he knows that defenders will lunge at him, so he uses that up fake to get the defender on the trampoline, and with there being 3 defenders who could have gotten in front of him to stop him, it's best that they make a good business decision. It's one thing to jump at the shot fake and get blown past immediately, but for the times when the defender does stay on his feet and slides with Wemby while the help comes over, this is when Victor shows you that none of that simply matters.
Wembanyama fights all through it and dunks on the zone.
A big reason why defenders have to jump at Wemby when he's alone on the outside is because not only does he knock down 35% of his threes, which is solid for a big man, but then he hits 43% of his mid-range shots as well. So when you pair all of that with his confidence to let it fly whenever he feels comfortable, this is when you get someone who can be quite a nightmare offensively. 1 second, you'll feel like things are fine before he proceeds to slam it in over your defense. And then in the next second, you'll feel like you're in solid guarding positioning by cutting off the paint, but then here comes the money ball from deep range. Versatility like this from your big man should never be taken for granted, as now when you run these pick and roll actions, if the defense hedges and allows Wemby to get even a step behind them, well, it's pretty much over. And then if they blitz the ball handler and even begin to rotate early on the backside, Wemby has no problem catching it directly off the screen and making the defense pay for it. This same shooting versatility plays right into his post scoring also. Oftentimes, defenders will find themselves being aggressive with Wemby, only to then be met with the same aggression followed by a poster. And then when they feel like that's the thing they have to watch out for, Wemby has no problem catching in post positioning a little further out and showcasing that ability to knock down tough turnaround fades. Usually, you'll see bigs either specialize in scoring inside, or they tend to be more of a floor spacer. And for the ones that can do both, well, they usually become a part of the elite. Having Wemby on your team does give you that floor spacer, and it's not just in an average way. Like usually when bigs space the floor, it's just with their skill set to catch and shoot when guys kick it out to him. And when you watch Wemby, he certainly isn't a bad catch and shoot option. Such as when running the sideline out of bounds play and the defender isn't glued to him, Wemby can let it fly. If the Spurs' first action of Vassell running off the screen gets taken away, well, Wemby can knock it down when his man is late to contest. And when guys have nowhere to go and just give it to the alien, there's not a shot he doesn't like. These are the simplest ways he can get to his shot, which is just like a standard catch and shoot big man. But Wembanyama can truly test the limit. Like, tell me this, how many guys are running off a handoff to then use the pump fake that sells the defender and then immediately flow into a step back for pure money? And then also, when the contest is right there when he does step back, Wemby doesn't let it phase him, and this one right here is straight cash. Yeah, any way he wants to, he can destroy you. And he can do all these things offensively, working off the ball as well. Players like this are generational, and many people don't want to admit it just yet, but are we looking at one of the greatest players in the making? You tell me. Is Wemby on pace to be one of the greatest, or is it too early to tell? Drop your comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload.